Egypt. After months of speculation, Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has formally announced he's running for the presidency. He spoke on national television just moments ago. Let's go right to Matthew Chance, live tonight in Cairo. Not entirely unexpected, but the timing probably was.
Yeah, widely anticipated, Max, this announcement that General Sisi, as he was, Mr. Sisi as he is now, is resigning his commission from the army. He was the head of the army, he was also defence minister, but to stand as president in the Egyptian elections, you have to be a civilian, and even though the date hasn't been announced for that, it's expected to be announced on Sunday, and so the timing is absolutely key. He kicked off his campaign unofficially. He said he wasn't going to spell out his exact platform until the campaigning officially got underway. But he said, look, you know, I've been a soldier for the state for so many years. I'm going to continue to be, in his words, a soldier for the people. He spoke about various issues that affect ordinary Egyptians. He spoke about the healthcare problem in the country. He spoke about unemployment, said that Egyptians deserve better. But crucially, he also spoke about terrorism. He said he will work for an Egypt that is free of terrorism. That's significant because General Sisi has been the military figure that has overseen a sharp crackdown on the Muslim Brotherhood. It's been designated a terrorist organisation. Thousands of people have been arrested for offences of association with the Muslim Brotherhood and terrorism offences. Hundreds of people have been killed, and it's led to all sorts of questions about the human rights activity and human rights abuses under this military-backed government in which, you know, General Sisi has been a key figure. And so it opens up all sorts of questions. Now he's an official candidate to be president about what the future Egypt might look like under President Sisi, because the point is that there are no real candidates who are going to stand to oppose him. He's got a good degree of popularity in the country. Many Egyptians, after so much turmoil in this country, see him as a figure who represents stability and security. And the expectation is he will capitalise on that in the run-up to the elections, which are expected as early as June, Max.
Matthew, stay with us, because we're just going to find out a bit more about the man himself. He is very popular in Egypt after he deposed Mohamed Morsi as president and led a crackdown against the Muslim Brotherhood. And others have concerns about his commitment to democracy. Reza Sayar takes a closer look.
His name is praised in song. His face plastered on walls, storefronts, even candy. Sometimes it's next to women's underwear. Sometimes it's on it.
There's little question the most popular man in Egypt these days is Field Marshal Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. But long before his picture was on posters and candy, long before he was poised to become Egypt's next president,
Sisi was a soft-spoken boy growing up here, one of Cairo's oldest neighborhoods. He was from a good family, religious, down-to-earth, says Shaban Bedoui, who says he remembers Sisi as a child. At the neighborhood tea shop, Sisi is Egypt's savior. He will lead the Arab nation, not just Egypt, with his beautiful revolutionary decision, says Atif Zabelewi. Samir Hamid and his wife admire Sisi so much, they came just to see his childhood home, now an empty apartment. I love that man, he says. It's places like this that make heroes. Sisi's instant rise to fame came last July when he personally announced the ouster of former President Mohamed Morsi, sparking wild celebrations by millions who wanted Morsi gone.
That's the man we need now.
Retired Army General Sameh Saif El-Yazil says by running for the presidency, Sisi is following the will of the people.
He said, if the people is asking for that, it's a duty.
But not every Egyptian is cheering for a Sisi presidency. Many, including supporters of the ousted president Mohamed Morsi, say he's a traitor for toppling Egypt's first freely elected president.
Sisi has also been a key force behind what rights groups describe as a deadly crackdown against dissent that has killed more than 1,000 protesters and put thousands more in jail, including journalists and secular activists. In 2011, Sisi drew sharp condemnation from rights groups when he defended the army's use of virginity tests on women detainees. They were done to protect girls from rape, and soldiers from false accusations, he told state media. Pro-democracy activists fear a Sisi presidency would signal a dangerous return to a state dominated by the army. We will not support a military personality in the presidential elections, Egypt's April 6 movement said in a statement. In January 2011, we demanded a civilian democratic state.
Are you concerned about him delivering the democracy many Egyptians fought for in 2011?
There is no choice. We have to go forward in the democratic way.
For Egypt's most popular man, the test begins on election day, with the future of post-revolution Egypt at stake. Reza Sayah, CNN, Cairo.
Question is, Matthew, will he have the support of the international community, which has been so shocked by these recent death sentences that have been dished out over the last couple of days?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I expect the answer is yet to be disclosed, but certainly, while I think there's been a degree of acceptance in the international community, recent developments in particular, as you mentioned, have cast a shadow over that, not least the mass conviction and sentencing to death of 529 people just earlier this week for a case which centred around the killing of a policeman, the attempted killing of others, and basically violence that followed the ousting of a protest, a pro-President Morsi protest back in August rather, of last year. And so, yes, mass trials, mass arrests, widespread human rights abuses. This is what many human rights observers say is what Egypt will look like under President Sisi. And so there's a great deal of concern about what the international community is going to do about that. There's been criticism, the State Department saying it was alarmed and shocked at the recent mass death sentences, but it doesn't seem to be having an effect, an impact at this stage on the popularity of this figure who, as I say, many Egyptians see as representative of security and stability after so much turmoil in their country, Max.